Hello, I am James at Camperdown Zoo. I'm a keeper here, and I look after this little fella, Hyacinth Macaw, and his name is called Navy. I didn't do that on purpose either.
James, who's in the background?
So in the background you can see these guys are green winged macaws, named after the green bits in their wings, and we've got Ren on the left and Banjo on the right. I'll see if I can get Ren. Ren? Come down here. It's been tickly. Come on.
So James, how is this macaw aviary suitable for these two species?
So this enclosure is perfect for large macaws like these. Very, very, very high, nice and wide, nice and long, perfect for them to fly as high as they want, and they've got a good long distance, so they can almost go right round in a circle. Most parrot enclosures, and in a lot of zoos, pretty good zoos as well, are very, very small, not even half the size of this. So this is a very, very good enclosure. So one of the main things is obviously their beaks. So their beaks are fantastic at destroying stuff. So when it comes to enclosure design, you have to make sure that you get the right sized mesh. Thank you. Sorry, I had a brain fart then. And also the thickness of the mesh is very, very important. So so this mesh that you can see is nice and tight, nice and thick, and then if you look on the top, that mesh there is quite wide, and the reason for that is if we get any snow, the snow can fall down very, very easily, whereas if we have this stuff on there, the snow will just stick there for ages and get thicker and thicker, and probably most likely destroy the enclosure.
James, how is the aviary planted and how is it suitable for these species?
So the aviary is basically, it's got loads and loads of plants that are parrot friendly, so if the parrot decides to chew on them, it's not going to kill them. Again, this enclosure's got lots and lots of plants that have been here for years and years before this aviary was set up, so it's perfect for when the birds come in, they don't take too much of a difference to them. Whereas if we were to plant them while these guys are in, they'd think, oh, it's a new plant, we'll rip the crap out of it. And then we've got loads of large perching, and they're all various thicknesses as you progress in the enclosure, and that helps them with the circulation in their feet. If their feet are moving at different sort of sizes, it helps the circulation. Perfect for these guys, and they won't get any issues. What's the next question?
So can you just go through the daily routine, I suppose, that you have with these guys in terms of their husbandry?
So daily routine would be first thing in the morning, we check all our enclosures, make sure all our animals are alive and well, and once I get round to doing these guys, I'll come in and basically make a fuss pretty much with this guy generally, because he hasn't really, although he's got other parrots in there, we're kind of like his proper mates, so we spend quite a lot of time playing around with him, keeping him occupied, have little tickles, don't we? Yeah. And then once we've had a bit of fun, and the same with the green wings, Ren, who's the lowest one down there, she's just real down low, she's quite friendly, and I've started to have quite a nice relationship with her, so I you know, give her a stroke, and once we've had a little fuss, then we'll start just picking up any of the loose sort of old food, clean down the sides, Check the enclosure, make sure the enclosure is all secure, no signs of predators getting in, and then yeah, once we've cleaned everything, then we'll give them their food and change their water, and then have another little fuss and a tickle, and then that's about it.
James, what sorts of enrichment do you provide for the macaws, and how often would you say you provide enrichment for them on a weekly basis?
So enrichment, we can do lots of different things. We can just literally change the perching around, which is quite hard because it's quite big perching, so we don't do that too often. And then little stuff would be hiding their nuts around the enclosure so they have to look for it, putting their nuts in various little puzzle feeders, and also simple things like a cardboard box. Doesn't look particularly great for the public point of view, but for them, they absolutely love it with shredded paper in there. One thing we don't do is have any toys with any sort of metal that's easy for them to break, because this guy will literally, he'll find the metal and he'll start playing around with it and possibly eat it, so we don't want that. As opposed to how often we do it, well, the little things like the boxes and stuff, we'll do, you know, a couple of times a week. The secret to enrichment, particularly with these guys, is to have maybe 5 or 6 different types of enrichment toys and rotate them. So keep them in there, not for long periods of time because they get bored of them, but short periods of time. So maybe three or 4 days, take them out, put a new one in, and just rotate it like that.
And would you say just being in a mixed species exhibit would also be enriching for these 2 species of macaw? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, this guy is certainly been helped with these guys being introduced into the enclosure. You don't necessarily get on too well. These guys are a pair. You're not going to break that bond that they have. So unfortunately, 3's a crowd in this circumstance. But we are on a look for a female hyacinth macaw, and hopefully we'll get one soon. They're very, very hard to get hold of, even amongst zoos. Get your girlfriend, mate, yeah?
What diet do you feed these guys?
So the diet consists of a parrot sort of biscuit, and it's got all the vitamins and minerals that is needed for these guys. It's actually a specialised macaw biscuit, so it's got lots of fats in there, and then predominantly lots of veg and some bits of fruit. Not too much fruit because it can be a bit too sugary. And then in their afternoon feed, we give them a varied mix of nuts. Macadamias is his favourite, he absolutely loves them. Brazil nuts, hazelnuts, what else is there? Can't think of any more, but I'll take a picture of the various nuts.
Can you just tell us what Navy's eating?
So Navy's eating an almond nut. This is one of the nuts that we give to him. And they can vary in size and thickness of shell, so it's not always their favourite, but because this is his first nut of the day, he'll have that quite happily.
And do they get through the shells quite easily then?
Yeah, some of them really, really easy. Macadamia nuts are really quite hard. They're probably the hardest. Nice and round, and again quite thick, so they take quite a lot of work, whereas the others, you know, Brazil nuts, they just crack through them nice and easy.
And how are they adapted to this diet of nuts?
So the main adaptation is basically this beak. I mean, hyacinth macaws have got the biggest beak of any parrot, so they can really handle quite big nuts. The other little trick up their sleeve is their feet. They can pick up stuff, grip stuff, and eat stuff like that. So, you know, with the nut, with the beak in the hands, perfectly adapting for eating big old nuts.
As we can see, James, Navy is very handleable, and you're quite happy to just let him climb all over you. If this was a less friendly macaw, can you describe how you would, one, handle the animal, but also restrain if necessary?
Okay, well, what I'll start with is this guy's been hand reared. So he is very used to us. He almost thinks that he's a human being in a lot of ways. And then you've got parent reared macaws, which are literally being reared by other macaws. They know they're macaws. They tend not to be friendly whatsoever. So as opposed to approaching a non-friendly macaw, you would probably start with basic training, trying to get the macaw ideally into a carry case, and get them used to you, building up some trust, getting them into a carry case. So if in event that you have to catch that animal, you can put them in a carry case, nice and easy, no problem at all. Worst case scenario, if you have to use nets, as soon as you introduce a net into any bird exhibit, they know exactly what it is and they just go crazy, and they'll hit all the fences, possibly injure themselves. That's not really what you want to do. It's not what we tend to do in zoos. So so basic training. If you haven't got that basic training in place, then unfortunately you're going to have to use nets, and get them down ideally onto the floor. You grip the parrot by the neck very securely, and making sure the wings are secure as well. So you're getting them, you're lifting them up to here. The likelihood you could get them bit is, if you know what you're doing, you shouldn't get bit. The worst thing is their claws. Their claws are really, really sharp. Even his is really, really sharp. I've just been quite immune to it over the years. So so that's how you get hold of a parrot. Again, it's very hard for me to demonstrate it without a parrot here in a net. I know I could do it to him, but even he doesn't really like to be restrained like that, do you? Because you're not used to it. I can just get him, put him in a carry case, and off we go.
Thanks so much for answering all of the questions. Final question, just from me. Who is your favourite parrot to work with?
That one, nice and easy. The blue guy. Navy, I've known him the longest. I've built this relationship with him for over 2 years now. It didn't start off as nice like this. He actually hated me, but over time I've built up a lovely relationship with him. Ren, she's really nice. We're getting there with a relationship. Banjo hates me. As far as he's concerned, I'm taking his girlfriend away, so I can totally understand that. So I don't think I'll ever have a nice relationship like I do with him, with Banjo. But with Ren, I think we she's definitely friendly enough that one day we might get a relationship like this, where I can do anything. Hey, all right, yeah.
And James, can you just finally explain why your hoodie has got so many holes in it?
I haven't been shot by a shotgun. This is, again, over 2 years of him and his late girlfriend, Sky, biting my, how do I say it politely, my top to pieces. Yeah? You little sod.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, James. That's
Very
great.
welcome.